views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome everybody to The Grave Report with your hosts, Sandy and Russ Wells from American Ghosthunters, SJ and Russ Wells. Let's get started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first episode of the The Grave Report. Since we talk about ghosts, of course, that's what I would say, right? Anyway, so next to me over here is my husband, Russ, and we have been paranormal investigators for over 40 years. And so tonight we're just going to kind of introduce ourselves, let you know who we are, that kind of thing, what we believe in. And then next week we'll try to get a guest on here with us so that we can discuss their interest in the paranormal and, that kind of thing. So
I think the main person we get is Dan Norvell. He was our first guest when we first started a long time ago doing this kind of stuff with, what was it, Dark Moon Rising.
Well, actually, it was Para Explorers Radio.
Wow.
That was a long time ago. That was probably, 2010 maybe?
Shortly before the Stone Age. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, Russ and I have been doing this for over 40 years now. I recently acquired my bachelor's degree in metaphysical sciences. Russ is a hell of a technical person for what we do. He used to set up all of our equipment and stuff. Now we just kind of went back to basic investigations because it's just me and him, and we know what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been hip deep in snow, 0 degrees where there's 0 temperature. None.
Yeah.
I mean, really cold.
He's climbed under buildings to look for ghosts in attics and you name it. He does it all, or he used to.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing about getting old and being a paranormal investigator. I used to be able to go into areas that no one's been in say 100 years. Say in the underground tunnels in Seattle, which is a very cool place to go.
Yep.
I'm getting older now, so it's harder for me to get down in those areas and get back out.
Right.
So,
Well, and you'll find out, you investigators out there, that the longer that you're into this, the more... It's not so much that you have to find evidence now because you already know that ghosts exist and that we interact with them and that kind of thing. But, you guys got all this new technology stuff coming out, and I'm glad that you're young enough to be able to use that stuff. When you get to be our age, we won't get into that, will we? The technical stuff doesn't seem as important,
Right.
And so we just communicate with them, and to me, EVPs have always been they've
been kind of
what I enjoy the most. So
I appreciate all the new stuff.
Yeah,
I really do, but I don't really. I mean, I think it's important to the field and everything else. I don't need it because I don't need the proof. I've seen it firsthand. I don't need it anymore.
Right.
It's cool to share with people, and if I'm with, I've been fortunate to be with a group of 6 people to see a ghost at the same time. That's cool. When you can, seeing it by yourself is very cool. It's very unique.
Uh-huh.
But you're by yourself.
Right.
With somebody else, it's very cool.
Right.
Share a ghost. I don't know. That sounds weird.
Yeah. Well, and Russ and I have had some of the strangest experiences throughout our, I guess you call it a paranormal career, because we've been doing it so long. It's kind of been like our side job forever. And I can't tell you how many investigations we've done, but all I can say is probably in the thousands, because we were very active prior to having our team. But in, 2002 or something, we started our own team called Fog Paranormal, and we were active for about 6 years with them. and everybody kind of just, wanted to go do their own thing, and we all kind of split up, stayed friends, but, they still went their way and we went ours, and we're still doing it.
We've been doing this so long, guys. I would still say that I prefer a reel-to-reel tape
I like
over anything, because I just
Actually,
like the clean sound of it and everything. But the new recording apparatus is just way cool.
yeah.
I like it too.
But
So-
we mostly use desktop cassette players because you can set them someplace and push the record button and just walk away and
That
do
was
it.
the old technology. That was your mobile recorder. It really
Right.
was.
I mean, you could it was kind of awkward, but you could still carry it with you like we do the voice recorders.
How many of you remember the cassettes? I mean, now
Yeah.
it's CDs.
Now you pay like a bundle for them. I was looking it up somewhere, and they were like, God, I don't know how much it was, but the cassettes were like outlandish
Hey,
now.
if I ever run for president, I'm bringing back 8-track tapes. Tell you right now, I dug them.
I didn't ever like those because every time it would bump, the car would bump, the sound would bump.
They would wiggle out too.
Yeah,
You'd have to
or
pop it back
the
in.
tape would come rolling out of it.
See, that's how we are, guys.
Shh, don't say anything.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's pretty much who we are in a nutshell. We've done some. We really have never done a lot of the famous places that you guys consider popular, because one, I'm not going to pay a mint to go in investigations that'll be and other people have done, because we already know it's haunted, right? I'm one of those people who like the unknown places that we get to say, okay, it's actually haunted because we've caught this evidence or whatever, and we've done that for years and years. When we had our team, we were investigating twice a week,
Oh,
and it just got so overwhelming that we just said, okay, enough's enough, and then that's kind of when everybody went their own way. But anyway, so tonight we want to talk a little bit about basic paranormal stuff to advanced paranormal, and mostly theory. Because a lot of people think that just because a place is haunted, that we're going through this whole demon phase right now. I don't know what that's all about, but everybody considers that anything that's left behind or remains here in this realm of the human is demonistic or malevolent, and that's actually not true at all. You're going to run into what kind of spirit you run into, and some stay, some choose to stay, others get lost along their way to the light or whatever. So I don't know, Russ, what do you think?
you know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You can sense it.
Yeah, well, Russ and I can't. We're both very sensitive to paranormal activity.
Evil's evil. In all the years that we've been doing this, I'd say we have encountered evil. Demons? I don't know of any. There again,
There was one
if I'm
situation.
not qualified to do the daggum job, I don't do it. I get somebody else. If I'm over my head, listen, if you're over your head, get help.
Yeah.
Because you're not helping them. You're not helping your client.
Well,
Nope.
it's not so much that we really go after other people. We might run it by them and see what they think about it, because you have to make sure what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And in some cases, yes, we're going to run into some things that is very hard. They're difficult to explain because of the situation itself. And so,
Consult.
and considering that the paranormal has many variables, it's not
Oh, man.
there is not just a cookie cutter basic thing. You can't just grab an EVP, a voice recorder, and run out to the nearest cemetery and shoot film and all that stuff and expect to know exactly what's going on there. One, because it's a cemetery and it could be an ultimate amount of people that are haunting the place. So,
And a lot of times you can get set up because people go, here's the thing. Somebody goes, that house is haunted and there's a ghost in there. And this is your first round doing it, or your first couple of rounds doing investigations. Guess what? You're going to go in there and you're going to find a ghost in there because you've been told there's a ghost in there. Go in open-minded. Open-minded, because you know what? When the daggum floor creaks, that doesn't mean you got a ghost farting in the background. You got a creaky floor. It happens.
Yeah.
Place shifts, pipes rattle, windows, breezes. I've done so many dust studies with orbs and things, trying to figure those things out. And we can get into that later on.
Yeah, I do want to say, now that Russ mentioned orbs, not
Light alarms.
everybody automatically rejects the idea of orbs. I don't particularly call them. I don't really like the whole idea of orbs, but because people have, I don't know, said that word to death. It's not like, you can't say it's a light anomaly, something that's anomalous, something that's different about it,
Yeah.
We've had on video many times
Super slow-mo.
something that, like an anomaly that comes up the stairs, takes a right-hand turn, stops in front of a door, no less, and then all of a sudden it goes through the door. So you can't automatically assume that it's a dust, it's a bug, it's a what. Now, if it's this is something we've learned, is we were doing an investigation where there was a fan running.
Yeah.
And these light anomalies that we saw on the video were actually going against the wind current and through the fan.
Through the fan, the other way.
Right. It wasn't like, now you could see on the video that there was dust coming through the fan.
Yeah.
Blowing with the air current.
But you can see the other ones flying backwards.
But the other ones were doing the opposite, and they were going back through the air current through the fan.
Yeah, dust don't do that.
And dust doesn't do that. And bugs don't do that either.
No.
So we left it as open. Our opinion, what that was. I mean, you don't necessarily automatically have to assume that it's paranormal, but you can say, hey, it's something different that we've never seen before.
I've tried to study so many different things. The flash point of taking a picture with a flash and freezing that flash and seeing what's in the flash. Okay?
Yep.
The flash itself, I saw what appeared to be aliens.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. Little bitty guys standing in the background.
Yeah. Or we've even seen, during the flashpoint, we even saw apparitions.
Yeah.
I mean, when after the flash, and we still had our flashlights going, you could not see nothing.
If you got some film running somewhere, some video running where somebody's taking pictures in an investigation, freeze the flashes. Look in the flashes. See what you see.
Yeah.
I ain't going to tell you what to look for. You look.
Just because it's dark doesn't mean that you can't see.
Yeah, you might have to zoom in on it, but we had a pretty good system that had pretty daggum high quality video. It shot pretty good stuff.
Right.
So I could really break it and bring it in and look at what was in the background, but pretty cool stuff. The exact flash. Yeah. Try it sometime.
Yeah, and another thing now we really enjoyed the DVR system. The only problem with it wasn't wireless.
Yeah.
And so we had the pain in the butt of trying to set
thousands of feet of cable.
Oh my God, running everywhere. So you have to really consider what you're going to buy. And this stuff is very expensive, and you guys know that. I mean, so you have to make sure that you're going to buy something that's going to be useful to you, that's not going to be an annoyance. And the DVR systems with all the cables, that was an annoyance. Because it would take us an hour to set up.
The equipment's real cool. We've had, back in the day, we had state of the art. And, but, boy, sometimes when you're sitting there and you're watching your video and you got 8 hours of staring at a door.
Yeah.
And, or that staircase that we covered.
Well, it also depends on how many cameras you're using too.
Yeah.
I mean, we had 6 cameras for the large buildings, and
6 times 8 hours of footage.
Yeah.
Well, you're over 40 hours right there. Easy.
It's 48.
Yeah.
Math. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, just be really cautious about what you're dismissing away when come up with your own theories. Okay, say you don't understand how the afterlife works at all. Well, maybe you need to start researching. Because if you don't research something, especially the location that you're going to, how are you going to tell your client or tell the person that owns the building or whatever that it's haunted. That's all you're going to say. It's haunted. Well, how do you know it's haunted? What happened there? Was there a murder there? There's some kind of killing next door in another building? Was there an accident out front or a car accident out front? Whatever.
Research.
You got to research. You got to know what the area is all about, what the property had on it prior to what this building. It's a lot of work. It is.
You got to have some sort of an out, because when you're doing it from the psychic standpoint, as far as Sandy goes, or my little abilities, I see stars. Okay, stupid stuff like that.
He doesn't mean like stars in the sky.
No.
Celebrities.
Celebrities. That's how I identify who I'm looking at.
Yeah.
But anyway, you need somebody that's detached from her or I to do the preliminary research to know that if we're even in the right ballpark.
Right.
Right. And the psychics need to be cold. They don't need to know nothing.
The only thing they need to know is the address.
Yeah.
And even then, what your best scenario would be to go pick up the person and take them with you in your car because you know where you're going.
And sometimes that can be kind of squirrely because we've been in situations where we've been around folks that we kind of went, you remember the UFO guy?
Yes.
And his family missing? And
yes.
The blood?
Yeah, we can tell you about that story some other day, but it was very bizarre.
It's
that way. Yeah, it's very, it was.
I thought we were going to die.
But let's keep on going on the psychic thing just for a second, because
I had a feeling you were going to say that. It must be my psychic side.
Yeah, I guess so. But we were. But the thing is a lot of people think, because we're doing it scientifically. Well, you're not really doing it scientifically because scientists are a lot different than what we do. Okay, it has to be. Let's see. Scientists will take something and repeat it over and over and over again to make sure that their analysis of it and their findings are correct. Okay? Now, paranormal investigators only get usually one chance to do a place and get it right. Okay? So, what you got to remember is a psychic will help guide you to the locations of the hottest points in the building, or what they're feeling, who they're seeing, and then afterwards, you're going to break it down into research and find out all about the place. Not the psychics during the investigation, but after the investigation, because they're going to want validation also. But don't ever think that a psychic is not a good, useful tool at an investigation, even if you're trying to do it scientifically, because basically all you're doing is technically. You're working technically, not scientifically. I want to clear that up because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, we do it scientifically." Well, no, you don't. You're doing it with technical devices, the one that have been created by other people in the paranormal. So,
I've seen scientists and actually worked with them with a couple of ghost groups when we first started here in Washington State.
Yeah.
Very bright fellows, very, very intense on what they're doing, but it's hard for them as a scientist to do anything because they can't repeat the experiment. That's the problem. They need reliability in the thing to prove that it's what's going on. Mm-hmm. But the scientific field is there. They're curious.
Yeah.
But they need facts. They need numbers.
Yeah. I mean, I think if we could ever pin it down to where we could do it scientifically, and then have access to a place for a month and investigate that place every single day, located to the hottest spots in the building where the most activity is, then maybe the scientists would follow us up and try to prove what we proved. That the place is haunted.
That's my dream, is having a super haunted location. Unfortunately, you're going to have souls that are there. You want to help them. You want to help move these souls on, but you don't want to run out of a haunting. Mm-hmm. It's really a dilemma. Kind of selfish of us.
It is.
You know, I mean, in a way, but if I could have a really haunted location, have the absolute best camera set up in all areas,
Yeah.
and then observe it
Mhm.
and see what happens with people that come in and interact, and you know, that might be a good scientific way, but you can't guarantee safety because things can happen, things can go wrong, and you can get hurt
Yes.
if you do it wrong.
Well, not only physically you can get hurt, but you can get hurt emotionally. You know, if you're in fear, that's a big basis for not doing paranormal investigations.
Oh
If you're
boy.
in fear, because you're just giving them more the spirits more ammunition to um, hurt you in whatever way, physically or emotionally. Um, they can follow you home. It used to be an old theory that ghosts couldn't leave the place where they were at. That's total bunk. I mean, we've had so many experiences. I can honestly tell you that is BS. Spirits will follow you home if you're not protecting yourself. Okay, let's talk about protection. Since we were talking about psychic stuff,
Yeah.
let's talk about protection. Make sure that when you go into any location that you are protecting yourself. Whatever your religion is, use that as a basis for your protection. Okay, say you're Catholic. You can use holy water, or you can use a cross, you can use binding prayers, whatever. But protect yourself. If you're just spiritual or you're Wiccan or whatever, use whatever tools it is that you believe in and you have faith in that it's going to protect you. Because if you put a cross on, for instance, if you put a cross on and you say, okay, this is going to protect me, is it something that you really believe in? Do you believe that cross is going to protect you from whatever kind of spirits are located in that place? Okay. You have to have faith in what you're using as a tool. So psychics will tell you that they put a bubble around themselves, a bubble of light, and they can see that light because they put it out through their mind that bubble is right around them, and nothing's going to get very close to them. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what protects them.
And so you just can't pull a religious item out, and just because it represents religion and good and all these things, put it on and expect it to work. If you don't believe in it, it ain't gonna work.
Right.
You got to believe in it. I got a necklace. It's got these different metals on it and stones on it, and people look at it and go, "It's just a piece of metal. It's just a stone." To me, that's my protection.
He wears obsidian. He has a St. Michael's medal that was given to him, and a couple other little medals that were given to him. And those things, that's what he feels protects him, and so that's why he wears them.
Montana State Prison.
Yeah.
I don't mess around no more.
Well, he kind of got attacked there. It was the first attack he'd ever encountered, and it kind of really threw him for a loop, you know.
Put some racetracks in my pants.
That's for sure. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, make sure that if you're using any kind of protection items, you know, like crystals or crosses,
whatever you believe in,
make sure that you believe in it and that you bless it. You say a prayer over it before you go into this place and say, you know, ask the angels to protect you. Whatever it is you believe in, have faith in, that's what's going to protect you. Okay. Even if it's your kids, say, oh, my kids protect me, you know, from any evil, whatever. That's your faith. That's what's going to protect you.
I carry this really big knife with me all the time. I don't believe in it, but I know it'll protect me. You know what I'm saying? Not against ghosts, but that's the other part you got to be mindful of. There's I don't want to say crazy folks because that's just unkind. Mentally challenged folks, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Some people's got, you know, mental problems. And I've known people who've been attacked by just regular people.
Yeah.
So you have to keep an eye out for that too.
Right.
Oh, no, buddy.
Our dog is here and he thinks he has to bark.
That you can hear. No.
You can hear him in the background.
Stop. Go lay down.
Toby, stop.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so yeah, religion.
Sorry, guys.
The religion part of it is a lot of people believe in God, and that's good. A lot of people believe in Buddha or, I don't know, Allah or whatever, and whatever their faith is what is going to carry them through.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about cookie cutter stuff before. What I'm talking about with that is you're not just going to say, okay, I'm going to go in and do it this way, and I'm never going to alter how I do it. It's basic. So like you use a cookie cutter on dough, you're going to get the same thing over and over and over again. But if you go into a location and you say, okay, this is happening, but I wonder if it could be this. I wonder if this is happening because of this or that. That's what you got to think of. Theory is a big part of what we do. And you could introduce it to other people that could use it, and then they could introduce it to other people that can use it. It's like the paranormal community is what I guess we call it, is one of those things that has to continually expand on itself because we're so ego driven with what we do. At least a lot of people are. Ego driven to say, I do it this way and this is the only way that you can do it.
It's ridiculous.
It is. It's ridiculous because we've got Russ, like I said, all the years that we've done this, we've had to change our minds about different theories over and over because they change. They never stay the same. There is no absolutes in the paranormal. We have no facts. We only have theory or perception. And so it's how we perceive that haunting and how we theorize about it as to what it could be or why it's happening.
I think more or less a lot of times when I've been out and I've been ghost hunting or paranormal investigating, I don't think of it as either one really.
It's just a label.
Ghost hunting, I don't like that. And paranormal investigating, I'm not real crazy about that. I'm a person out trying to make contact with a dead person. And there ain't really no label on that. I'm trying to contact the other side.
The only reason people do say those things, a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, whatever, is because they want people to know what they do.
Yeah, but we're not hunting nobody.
No, we're not. I mean, we're seeking.
I guess that's hunting, but
yeah,
it just makes
sense,
it, but it makes it sound like you got to have a license or something.
No,
but what it's the technique is a lot of times when I'm investigating, it looks like I'm shopping or something. I'm looking at other stuff. I'm not really paying attention to what I'm even there for. I'll get hooked onto a piece of history, and I'm looking at that and trying to figure out something about that. And that, right then, when I let my guard down, is when I have the paranormal exchanges.
Yeah.
When I'm not expecting it.
Yeah. And if you assume that you can get a ghost to react to you every single time, I'm sorry, you've got something to consider about how you're doing things.
Yeah.
Because it was a long time ago, a saying, I can't remember who came up with it or anything, but it says, ghosts do not perform on cue. And that's the truth. They're not like a stage actor. They don't come out and say their lines and then walk off the stage. It doesn't work that way. So obviously we need to expand on what we're learning in the paranormal. And if you're new to the paranormal, please go, and I'm begging you, please don't watch TV about ghost shows because they're just doing it for ratings.
Yeah.
Not that they don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it mostly for ratings.
Seek out some groups.
Seek out people that have been doing it for an extended period of time. 10 years, 5 years. Somebody that knows that they need to change things up sometimes. Know that they need to share what they're learning. Because if we don't share it, then how are the rest of us, going to learn from their experiences? It's kind of like being human and learning from different life lessons. You're learning something new every day. And that's what you need to think about when you're doing the paranormal is learning something new every time you do an investigation or every time you get online and research. Really think it out,
I've been blown away. I mean, just blown away with the different types of way that an apparition or an entity or a ghost, whatever you want to call them, leaves. Not just appears, but leaves. I've seen them walk through walls.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them fucking, excuse my language, freaking do the Enterprise thing where the transporter beam.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looked like. And
Yep.
then I've had them just simply fade away.
We've ran into, I can't even tell you how many now, solid, I would say solid apparitions. Okay?
Shook hands with one.
Russ shook hands with one. The guy had ice cold looking eyes that stared right through you and ice cold hands.
Not only did I see it and experience it, Sandy saw it.
I-
Every one of my grandchildren experienced that.
And they still remember that to this day.
Yeah.
So you can't, in the paranormal, don't ever have any expectations. Don't expect to get activity. Don't expect to catch the most awesome EVP you've ever gotten.
That's when you're going to get it.
Because and for those people out there who say, "Oh, I'm a skeptic, I'm a non-believer, whatever," yeah, you're the people that if you go to an investigation, you're the first ones that those ghosts are going to encounter with or show you activity because they want you to believe that they're there.
How many
real.
times have I heard, "I don't believe in ghosts, it's all a bunch of hunk," and then we will turn around and go, "You are perfectly welcome to come with us on any investigation that you would like."
Mm-hmm.
And they never take you up on it.
No,
why? Well,
maybe they're afraid.
yeah,
And maybe it's not that they don't believe, but maybe it's just they're
afraid.
They're afraid. You know.
And that's okay. Being afraid of the unknown, there's nothing wrong with that, folks.
No.
There's nothing wrong with being afraid of the unknown.
But the one thing that Russ and I always say when we go into any location is to anybody that's with us, because we already know what to do,
Yeah.
but to anybody that's with us that's going to investigate with us is check your fear at the door.
Yeah.
Because if you take it inside there, those spirits are going to take advantage of that, and that's when you're either going to get attachments or that you're going to, it's going to make you sick or it's going to cause different physical ailments, whatever. Check your fear at the door.
Because I've seen it. The most experienced ghost hunters,
Yeah.
Marcia Mack, I'll shout out to her right now. But she's an experienced ghost hunter that got attacked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, out of all the years she's been doing it, at one particular place that ain't there no more, yeah.
She got groped.
And she knew exactly what she was in for. She knew exactly what she was doing. She still got it. So some of you folks that are going into these places have no experience, zero. Watch out. Pay attention. If you ask for something, you might just get it.
Yeah. Well, the thing also is don't assume that because somebody else gets something that you weren't there to experience, don't assume that it's not real.
Yeah.
That they did not experience it, because I imagine they did.
Yeah.
So when I see like a ghost photo or something, I will kind of, in my own mind, look at it how I would look at it and assume what I would assume about it, my opinion about it, and then, but I won't say anything to them because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
How do I know that maybe my opinion is wrong or right? I don't. So we have to take that into consideration also as paranormal investigators to make sure that we're allowing people to experience and be excited about something that they captured, whether we believe it or not. And who are they hurting, really? They see a ghost walk through a door or through a wall or whatever, and they're excited about it.
And nobody else saw it.
And it's a personal experience. They didn't get any kind of evidence from it.
I am absolutely thrilled to death that they got to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because how many of you people out there have actually seen an apparition? I imagine psychics have. Some do and some don't, but
some see them all die.
Yes, yeah, like I did when I was a kid. I mean, I saw them all the time, and it got a little upsetting, But now that I'm older, I just tell them I don't want to see you.
It's like we got a turn off button now.
Yeah, it's kind of like a light switch. You turn it off, turn it on. Anyway,
Oddly enough.
We've talked about psychics. We've talked about the basics of the paranormal, which it's very important because if you don't have the basics, you can't advance from there. So. Always remember to start with your basics and work your way up. Learn something new all the time. Do your research. What else do we talk about? Faith in the tools that you're using to protect you. All that. You have to. All those things are very important. They're vital.
And for God's sakes, do not offer them the opportunity to step into your body.
No.
Don't do it.
Although channeling is not out of perspective, okay?
It's
because
not for me.
It does happen. We were I was at an investigation doing a EVP session with my teammate, and I was talking, asking questions and doing that like we normally do for EVP sessions. And all of a sudden she said, Sandy, your voice changed, your mannerisms changed, something was off.
She was slipping to the dark side.
No, it was the little boy that we were talking to.
Oh, that's right.
And
that was just a joke.
And he just, came in for about 2 or 3 minutes and went back out. See, the thing about spirits is one thing I've learned over all these years is that spirits cannot stay within a living human body for very long. The reason is because it drains them. It's like unplugging them from a wall socket. Just automatically. Just the more they're there, the longer they're there, the more it drains their energy. So
it happened to me at that stupid cemetery. That's another one.
Yeah, I mean, we were. I don't really want to get into these long stories but Russ experienced that too. And the thing we can only assume that it got yanked back to the cemetery because I think it
had boundaries.
It was bound. It had boundaries. It was bound there. Yeah. But it tried to escape, and it didn't work out so well for the spirit. But it was definitely an experience that I had to watch Russ go through. That he don't remember.
Yeah,
he don't remember at all. So, it's just one of those things that you gotta. Don't assume that you know everything, please, because we've been doing this, like I said, 40 plus years.
Still apprentices.
And we're still, I wouldn't call us apprentices. We're knowledgeable. And
I always like to think of myself as an apprentice still after 40 years because I always learn something.
Yeah. Like, we have a lot of friends that are paranormal investigators, obviously. And so.
1 or 2.
Yeah, just a few. So we listen to what they experience, and sometimes you're going to say, oh, wow, yeah, I experienced something like that myself. But the only problem is you experienced it differently than they did.
Yeah.
So does that make you right or wrong or them right or wrong? No, it doesn't. It just means that you experienced something that they didn't. So you can never say that you know what you're talking about until you've experienced every experience a ghost can put you through. It's never going to happen in your lifetime, I guarantee it.
Yeah, the attachments can go on and on.
Yeah.
I personally know of that happening in the war that had to happen to get rid of the thing. That was witnessed by several. The battle in Norvell's house with the long distance from Diane. That was intense.
Yeah, there was we won't go into that.
Yeah.
Let him tell you about it when we have him on the show. But you know what? I was reading an article the other day, and actually somebody said on that article that paranormal investigators or people that believe in the paranormal are lazy.
I don't know.
It was a psychologist that was saying this. He says paranormal investigators are lazy because that way they don't have to believe in the reality of things. Really?
Oh, wow.
Come and investigate with us for 2 or 3 different times and see what happens to you and see if you can explain it away. Because we are not stupid people by any means, none of us. And we are logical, and our brains go to specific things that we need to pay attention to. I'm not going to let anybody tell me that I'm lazy because I don't want to believe in reality. Guys, I believe in reality because I live it every single day. I've been through some horrific things in my life and with Russ, and not as like a married couple, but just life in general. And I'm going to tell you, nobody is going to tell anybody that I know or that we're lazy people because we don't want to believe in reality.
Lazy people. Okay, lazy people that'll drive.
Well, actually, I think it was lazy brained.
Okay, lazy brain people that'll drive 7 hours to get to an investigation, spend the next 2 hours setting up, sipping on cold coffee, and then investigate until dawn, and then drive back home and work.
Yeah.
That's a lazy brain person right there.
We don't do anything.
Yeah. We've drove 14 hours straight. Well, not straight. You have to stop, obviously, but with 2 drivers, you can do it just to go investigate a place. Okay,
right?
It ain't about money, folks. Because if that's what you're in for, you might as well. You need a big TV contract or something. That's the only way you're gonna do that. This is a passion,
right?
Don't charge people. Don't look to be making money on this because that ain't what it's about. You're there to help.
Well, it's also, and you're there to learn.
Yeah, not to help just the person that's being haunted, but the entity or the spirit or the group that is trapped. You're trying to help them.
Now, here's something that we've been doing recently, and that's because a lot of times we can't get out to do an investigation because Russ, let's just say this. Russ is on disability, and he got in a car wreck in 2011 that really screwed up his back, and a lot of times he cannot get out there and walk around for long periods of time. So we don't go to investigations, but what we do, what we do is...
We do not have to put that out there about our doo-doo.
But what... That's good, Russ. What we do is we basically are now consultants more than we are investigators, because of the fact that as you get older, you'll find this out. The knees start hurting, the hips start hurting, the feet start hurting, the back starts hurting, and I imagine some of you middle-aged people are kind of going through this too. But sometimes,
that's at 30.
Yeah, and sometimes when we investigate, it's for hours on end. Sometimes it's a couple hours if we're not getting any activity, and sometimes it's 6 or 7 hours because we're getting a tremendous amount of activity, and we don't want to miss any of it. We're greedy that way. Don't you think?
Well,
I think we're all a little greedy when it comes to activity.
Yeah. And then here's the other part. You got to have fun, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're with your friends. And when it gets boring and it gets tiring and you lose track of me, oh Lord,
I've had to live with that.
Oh, that's when it starts getting fun.
Yeah, but see, that what Russ is talking about fun is you're sitting there in a room waiting for activity, doing EVP sessions. You're not getting anything. There's no bumps or footsteps or whatever. Nothing's going on. And you're hoping and waiting to see if anything happens. And all of a sudden, somebody walks up behind you and scares the crap out of you. It's something to break up the mundane, typical paranormal investigation.
I have never done that to her.
Hurrying up and waiting.
Never in our 40 years have I purposely scared my wife.
Really? I can tell you some stories, but we won't go into that tonight because that would take me forever.
I'm not that kind of guy.
It's happened so many times.
Not that kind of guy.
But we were talking about the lazy brain comment from the article. Let's talk about illness for a second because and people that say they have hallucinations about seeing apparitions and seeing their loved ones. And
is that Alzheimer's? Or is that
no? It's Parkinson's. There's Parkinson's, and a lot of those people, they see hallucinations, and the doctor's been trying to explain it away, but they can't. Sometimes it's caused from their medications, but these people are seeing these apparitions, and here's the theory we came up with. I think it's that when you get a disease like that, like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or whatever, or you get some kind of other brain issue, I think it turns like a switch on in your what do they call it, pineal gland or whatever. It's your third eye, like a psychic is open there.
We won't go into that in big words and me. No thanks.
Anyway, it turns that switch on and allows you to see beyond the normal human eye.
They say they're hallucinating. They say that they're not right. I say that they're actually fully interacting with their loved ones.
Mm-hmm. Or other spirits that are around.
Because they're having pretty good damn conversations and pretty, not scrambled, not goofy, really solid conversations.
Right.
And people go, man, you're losing it. Well, I don't know. When we get ready to go, I have heard many times from different loved ones the final what they heard or experienced, and it has been their loved ones coming to greet them.
Yeah. Like
explain that.
When my grandmother died of cancer way back in the early 70s, she told me, well, I was sitting there with her, and she told me that she saw Grandpa standing at the end of the bed.
Yeah.
Now, can I say, Grandma, you're imagining things or you're hallucinating? No, I wouldn't say that. Of course not, because by that time I was already, broke into the paranormal stuff because I was psychic. So
my dad,
yeah,
the day before he died, he told my niece that my mom came to him and said, "You're going to be coming home."
Yeah.
He dropped over in a lawn, doing what he enjoyed on a nice day. He just died.
Yep, just fell over.
Now, was he? Yeah, he had a stroke. Yeah, but I don't think there was nothing wrong with the man's brain. So when he says he saw my mom, I have to completely believe that because, well, we're Native American. Well, my mom's side, my grandmother's side, my dad's side were English or Welsh, I believe. But it's true, the man was pretty solid when he said he saw something. He saw it.
Yeah. So we'll get into this other stuff because I want to talk on one of the shows. One of the people we have on, I want to get into talking about psychic kids and
they're special.
Huh?
They're special.
They're special, and I don't want to get into it right now because it's a whole big topic. So we don't want to talk about that right now. But let me see if I had anything else. Another thing that psychiatrist said in the article was that childhood trauma causes the belief in the paranormal.
I don't know about that.
I want them to explain that one to me because they're saying that any child that, well, I mean, I can't deny what they're saying, but I can also say that a child usually that has paranormal experiences is probably got a gift that to see them in the first place. So.
Okay, my uncle came and seen me after I was really sick.
Yeah, but
that wasn't trauma.
No, that's just a sickness. You had double pneumonia.
But that wasn't trauma, so I don't really agree with that because he was solid, real.
Yeah, and that's like all the things that I saw when I was after I had a near-death experience at the age of 5. I had double pneumonia and I died. I literally died, and I went to where most people call heaven, and I call home because that's where we come from. But had some major experience, major things that I was told and things like that. And then when I came back, I had this ability to see spirits and talk to them. And to me, they look solid as you and me. So I'm just saying that the paranormal is a vast. I mean, if you stand in the center of this big ball, right, and you got all these things coming out, like when you see those little bleeps show up above people's head and say it, and they're saying a certain thing. All those things are coming up. Okay, what if this? What if that? How come I can't do that? How come they can't do that? Whatever. You got to remember that the paranormal investigators are investigators. Okay? What that means is you're looking for every piece that you can gather knowledge-wise so that you can tell the world about it. Seeking out, yeah. Well, what does a detective do? They do the same thing we do, basically. They're putting the pieces of the puzzle together and trying to give a logical answer or a common sense answer as to why something happened.
I've always thought that
or why something is happening.
Paranormal field got involved or got started because of the age-old question: what's next?
What happens to us when we die?
Everybody wants to know. I have no fear.
Yeah, after tonight, I want you to ask yourself that question. Why did you get into the paranormal? Was it for popularity? Was it because you wanted to be a paranormal celeb? Was it because you want to know what happens when we pass, and you want to know what the spirits experience? What is it that caused you to get into the paranormal? Was it from watching TV shows?
Yeah, I mean, whatever your reasons, it's a good reason you're here.
No, there's no right or wrong to it. It's just, why are you doing it? And then expand on that.
Yeah.
Expand on the reasons why you're doing this. I mean, don't let anybody tell you that you're right or wrong, because they're not right or wrong either. We have to start sharing this stuff. If we don't start sharing it, the paranormal is going to stay on this one, say a flat sidewalk. We're never going to go up. We're never going to go down. We're going to go up. We're going to stay on this constant flat sidewalk, walking in the same direction, doing the same thing over and over and over and over, until you're going to get so bored, you're going to say, enough of this. But you never really allowed your brain to examine what you're experiencing, you know? So that's kind of what we're about. We like to help people expand what they're learning in the paranormal. That's kind of why we do consultation now, because I can't say we've seen all and done all,
pretty much,
but we've seen and done a lot, and we want to share that with people that are just starting out, or even if they've been in it for a few years and they have questions about how we would do something. But we can tell them how we do something.
I have seen.
It's not going to help them.
I have seen things with my own eyes that I still to this day cannot explain.
Right.
Just can't do it.
Yep.
It doesn't make no dang gum sense.
No.
And that is why we're still in it.
Yeah.
I mean, for those moments.
One of those things is that when you get into the paranormal and you actually really get into it, and you're on a team or you're doing it individually, it doesn't matter where you go, day or night, you can experience the same things that you would at nighttime in the daytime.
Well, why in the world do people think that ghosts are only out at night?
That's kind of egotistical a little bit.
Yeah, you don't think they get tired?
I mean, I know the reason. I know the reasonings behind it, because one, if you're trying to do an EVP session, you can't do it when traffic is running all around.
That is a real benefit. It really is.
But it's not necessary. If you go out to a country cemetery or something, you could get just as much activity as you would if you were there at nighttime. And you notice most cemeteries you can't go into at night. Well, that's why a lot of people don't do them, because they want to do it at night. Well,
Alcatraz Island.
Yeah.
Just as haunted during the day as it is at night.
Oh, yeah.
The Uss Hornet.
Yep.
Famous aircraft carrier. Just as haunted during the day as it is at night. You can go talk to them fellas that actually are on the ship, and they will tell you where the activity is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's how cool that place is.
And the one thing that when you start really getting into it and you're trying to find an investigation someplace and you have no idea where you're going to go, but you go to a restaurant, for instance, or you go to a cafe, some little tiny dinky down someplace.
Yep.
And you start, looking around and start feeling something going on. And Russ is really bold about this. He'll just ask the waitress, "You guys got anything strange going on here?"
Yep.
And all of a sudden, once you say that, it's going to open you up to a new world of a possible investigation if you do it right.
How old is the building, and do you have any ghosts?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what he does.
That's what I do.
Yeah, and that's how we used to get a lot of investigations. And
I'm interested in the history of the building too.
Mm-hmm.
The ghosts are, I would say the ghosts are a well-placed, interesting benefit that the ghosts are there, because we're really historians.
Yeah.
We love history.
You don't think of yourself as one, but you should be.
You should be. If you're into ghosts, you're a historian.
Yeah, because you got to know what happens in each location, right?
Yeah.
I mean, say you walk into a place, the building was placed on an old burial ground of some kind, and they're getting all kinds of ghosts, but they don't know why, because there's never been anybody killed there or whatever. And it's not that. It's because the footprint of where something happened is always there.
That's what I'm saying. You start talking about the history of the building, the ghosts come into play, because either you're going to mention it or the person that owns the building is going to say, this place is haunted as hell.
And we don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then
just out of the blue.
Then they start telling us about the history of the town or the history of what was there before the building was there.
That guy takes you, or that woman takes you over to meet this person. That person takes you to meet all of a sudden, you're in the whole town.
Mm-hmm.
and they're all talking to you, and you got investigations lined up till next year.
Yeah.
Can it happen? It has happened to us.
Yeah. The town we live in, which is Concrete, Washington, the whole town is haunted.
Oh yeah.
Because of the variables we were talking about earlier. One, the town sits on top of a deposit of minerals.
Right.
Okay. There are one river running at the end of the town and another river running the opposite way. So it's kind of like
intersection.
Concrete sits in a corner of an intersection of two rivers.
Yep.
Which you know that if you don't know this, water conducts energy.
Yeah. And
so once it does that, then it illuminates the spirits in the location. So, Concrete, it has one side of the street. Well, both sides of the street are haunted, but the one side of the street is like a paranormal highway. The spirits go from one, because all the buildings are connected. So the spirits go from one building to the next building to the next building, but they hang out in certain buildings more than others, I guess.
I think it's just like on, you seen Patrick Swayze in Ghost, and the guy says, doors, they're nothing, zip zap, just like that.
Yeah, and that's true. They just go through the wall.
I think it's exactly like that.
Because we talked to a lady spirit in the theater, and then later on, maybe I think it was about a year later, we talked to her in the tavern that was right next door.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where that's why we call it a paranormal highway, because they just kind of walk through, and we've encountered the same spirits in different buildings all along that side, but there must be, I don't know, probably 30 spirits haunting downtown Concrete.
I just think they just walk around and enjoy the place.
Yeah, and even when you're on the street, we've done this too.
Oh, God.
Where we've investigated outside the buildings, on the sidewalks, and gotten all kinds of EVPs.
Although that one was creepy as...
Yeah, we got one that was not so good, but I can't remember what it said now.
Oh, it was... the word kill was in there. Let me put it that way.
It said kill, or something.
I must kill or something. I can't remember now.
It was weird. But anyway, don't think just because the place is haunted that you cannot go outside that building and explore the outside and do EVPs and take photos and whatever. Because I guarantee you're probably going to get something on the outside too. Because they don't stay confined in a building. And I don't know who came up with that theory, but I'm glad that we disproved that.
Well, people go, oh, this 200 years old. No, the ground is something like 80 billion years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? How old is the Earth?
Yeah.
That ground that you're standing on, that we're on currently, sitting on right now, this little piece of ground we're sitting on, is extremely old. So, I don't know. At one point, could a Native American walk through here? Probably.
Yeah.
We had a place that's not too far from here where they had a slide. We know that there was some kind of thing that went on and some tragedy up there. And we would be inside our house watching TV or trying to do something, and people walking around our house.
Yeah.
Nobody there, but you can hear them talking.
Yeah.
That's how, very clear.
Yeah, it was an old town. It's called Van Horn, and it's no longer there. But there's certain buildings that are still there. But all the land was like, I think it was a lumber company or something out there. And we heard women talking, men talking.
I think they said they had a slide at one point.
I don't know.
That buried the, there was some kind of a burial yard, a burial grounds around our property where we lived.
Yeah, two different psychics, 2 different times told us that we had graves out there. We never found them. But
that was pretty hot out there as far as paranormal.
Yeah, it was.
Pretty cool.
But anyway, guys.
Anyway, an hour. Look at there.
Yeah, we just talked away.
We did.
But anyway, so next week, I don't know who our guest is going to be, but
you'll regret it.
We will be going further into what we were talking about tonight to kind of get other people's opinions. We do love this, what we do, and we really hope that you'll start watching us on a weekly basis, which will be every Wednesday night. And this show will air on, let's see, the 9th, I believe, if I remember right. But it's going to be every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So whatever that is, your time. Like if you're anywhere east of us, you're going to add an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. So anyway, take care, you guys, and we will be back on again next Wednesday.
If you like
Or
what
actually, this show will be on next Wednesday, and then the following week we'll have a
if
guest.
you like what you hear, you come back and get some more. If you didn't like what you hear, you come back and get some more anyway because I said so.
Yeah, whatever. One thing that I want to finish off with is that what we've said tonight is just things that we've learned over the years, and we're trying to share these things with all the new investigators out there, or even those that have been doing it a while.
Yeah.
Because if we don't start sharing what we get, what we capture, what kind of evidence we get, what theories other people may have, whatever, the paranormal is going to become stagnant
We've
again.
ran into that before, too.
And it's happened many times. So I guarantee it.
Any picture that I've ever gotten, anybody can look at it. Anybody can share it. I have no problem with that.
And we want to thank Paranormal Buzz Network for allowing us to have our show on their network. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Shia. Thank you, Matt. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
See ya.